at Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel now. At Blind Community Thrift Store on YouTube, and more info about this radio reading service, Navalins, and the Blind Community Thrift Store at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. The Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service will begin shortly. We will be reading local news from around the Southwest Missouri area, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube, KSMU, and on the Audio Reader Network at Kansas University. For more information, please visit us at www.blindcommunitythriftstore.com. Please stay tuned as our broadcast will start soon.
The time is 10.
And good morning. Thank you for tuning into the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. My name is Dory, and I'm here with Tony, and we invite you to listen to our broadcasts both live and on demand. Our live sessions are available on the Blind Community Thrift Store YouTube channel, Monday through Friday between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. each week. Additionally, you can access on-demand content through the Audio Reader Network, which offers a wide range of audio materials for the visually impaired community. To explore content from the Audio Reader Network, please visit www.reader.ku.edu. The site provides details about accessing content via Amazon Alexa, Audio Reader Network mobile app, and information on receiving a radio to listen to the broadcast by KSMU Radio. All broadcasts are played over KSMU's subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And did you want to start?
Good morning. Coming to us from the Springfield Daily Citizen today, after a second alleged domestic assault on the same victim, a Springfield man is being held without bond. A Springfield man is back in Greene County Jail. This time he's being held without bond after he allegedly assaulted a woman in March, was released on bond, and then allegedly choked the same woman December 21st. Prosecutors have charged Preston Allen Bates, 36, with domestic assault in the first degree. In this instance, the charge was filed as a Class A felony because Bates allegedly caused serious physical injury. A Class A felony has a range of sentencing of 10 to 30 years in prison. There's a photo here of a jail booking photo of Preston Allen Bates. Bates already faces 3 charges of domestic assault in the second degree for allegedly assaulting the same woman in March. A Class B felony has a sentencing range of 5 to 15 years in prison. According to a report filed by a Greene County Sheriff's deputy, someone was attempting to flag down cars trying to get help at about 4 a.m. December 21st. The person out on the street, unnamed in the report, got the attention of the deputy. I arrived to find Preston actively strangling victim 1 and arrested him, the deputy reported. Victims typically are not named in public court documents. V1 stands for Victim 1. Preston was highly uncooperative with law enforcement, and jail staff had to use force against him to compel compliance once he arrived at the jail, the deputy reported. Headline here says, "I thought I was going to die." A different deputy responded to the March 18th alleged assault. In that report, it was stated that Bates and the victim did not live together, but that he had arrived at the house intoxicated. The report states Bates started to verbally berate the victim, who then pushed him in the back to try to get him to leave. He allegedly then punched the victim in the face, grabbed the victim by the neck, and pushed the victim to the refrigerator and kitchen counter. He then allegedly began to choke the victim, according to the report. "I thought I was going to die," the victim told the deputy. The report states emergency responders suspected that the victim's left shoulder was dislocated. The victim told the deputy back in March that she did not want Bates to be arrested for the assault, but the victim later clarified that she was concerned about retaliation. The victim told the deputy that Bates frequently came to the home uninvited, and it was difficult to get him to leave. The next headline here mentions that the bond was lowered. He no longer had to wear a GPS monitor. After the first alleged assault, Bates was originally held in jail on a bond of $25,000. Bates was required to wear a GPS ankle monitor and was restricted from going near the victim. Greene County Judge Margaret Palmietto on March 17th reduced the bond to $5,000. She had access to what's called a risk assessment report, which would include Bates's criminal history. The bond conditions were amended again on April 17th. Bates was allowed to contact the victim through an app as long as the contact was not offensive. Next, on June 3rd, the court agreed to remove the GPS monitor and lowered the restraints by saying that contact with the victim was okay as long as it was not offensive. Online court records indicate that an assistant prosecuting attorney was present at this hearing. Records show that there was no objection to the changes in the bond conditions. The Daily Citizen was not present for the hearings to hear any discussion that took place. Available court records do not spell out the victim's wishes with respect to the bond conditions. Bates's next court date for the most recent charge is 8:30 a.m. Monday, January 5th, before Judge Palmietto. He has a tentative trial date of March 2nd, 2026, for the March 2025 alleged assault.
And from the Springfield News-Leader, this is an article by Marta Mees, Where to Recycle Old Holiday Lights, Christmas Trees in Springfield. The holiday season coming to a close, which means it's time to put Christmas decorations back in storage and clear away the Christmas tree. But before you turn to the dumpster, the city offers alternative, more sustainable options for disposal. Live Christmas trees can be dropped off at the Yard Waste Recycling Center at no charge through January 10th. Just make sure the tree is free of all ornaments, lights, and decorations first. All collected trees will be recycled into mulch available for purchase. Artificial trees and decor can often be donated to an area organization if they're in good condition. Organizations include Habitat for Humanity Restore and Salvation, among others. And follows is a picture of Boy Scout Greg Dormer carrying a Christmas tree to a trailer at the annual Christmas tree recycling program in the parking lot of Brass Pro Shop. String lights and power cords will be accepted at all 3 of the city's recycling centers through January 10th. Power strips, extension cords, and string lights, including mini, incandescent, C7, C9, rope, and LED, are accepted in any condition, according to a city news release. All drop-off recycling facilities are generally open 8 to 5, Tuesday through Saturday, excluding major holidays, including New Year's Day. So here's where you can go. Franklin Avenue Recycling Center, 731 North Franklin Avenue. Lone Pine Recycling Center, 3020 South Lone Pine Avenue. Yard Waste Recycling Center at 3790 South Farm Road 119 in Brookline. To find the best ways to recycle and dispose of those and other holiday-related items, the city offers also the Waste Wizard tool.
Coming to us from the Springfield Daily Citizen, there's driver dies following potential medical event that led to a crash into a Springfield Zaxby's restaurant. There's a photo of the Zaxby's restaurant with two vehicles loaded onto tow trucks. There's a red truck and a white SUV, both in pretty bad shape. Police say the driver of a red truck suffered a potential medical event and died at the hospital Monday following a crash that damaged a Zaxby's restaurant building in South Springfield. Chris Swatters, spokesperson for the Springfield Police Department, said the driver of the red truck was traveling east on El Camino Alto Drive on Monday afternoon, went off the road, hit a pole, crossed a grassy area, went over the curb, and crashed into a white SUV in the Zaxby's parking lot off Campbell Avenue. The crash caused the white SUV to partially crash into the restaurant near the drive-thru area. The driver of the truck was transported to the hospital where he died. Swatter said the occupants of the SUV were not injured.
How a donated school bus will help Eden Village build 3D printed homes. This is from the Springfield News-Leader. Through several partnerships, Eden Village will have its own specialized bus to aid in constructing its third community in Springfield. A school bus donated by First Student, the largest school transportation company in North America, will be revamped to be able to transport its 3D printer that builds homes for chronically homeless individuals. Eden Village is a tiny home community aimed at addressing the needs of chronically homeless individuals with disabling conditions. The local nonprofit will take on constructing Eden Village number 3, its third community of its kind in the Queen City at 2419 West High Street. It'll feature 12 3D printed concrete duplexes that are all weather resistant and can double as tornado shelters. And we see a picture of Eden Village on their East Division location, a sign letting you know that you're coming into their area. The donated bus will be used to transport critical components of the 3D printer. First students in Drury University's School of Architecture, specifically those in the Design Build program, will lead the redesign to transform the school bus into a dual-purpose mobile unit, according to a First Student news release. With the 3D printer, including high-precision parts, the students will be tasked with ensuring the vehicle can safely carry the equipment that cannot be transported on traditional equipment haulers. Student plans also include building a functional mobile construction office with fold-out workstations, dedicated storage, blueprint space, and potential enhancements like HVAC, solar power, and an exterior awning, according to the release. Quote, repurposing a former school bus into a dual-purpose mobile unit, serving as both a construction office and a mobile hub for 3D printer storage and fabrication, embodies our shared commitment to innovation, collaboration, and hands-on learning and service of the community, said Tracy Suter, director of the Design Build program at Drury University in the release. Renovation work on the bus will be underway through the winter. The goal is to have the unit ready to deploy in March and April of 2026 to support on-site construction when weather allows for concrete 3D printing. While the bus will be initially used locally, the mobile nature of it allows it the possibility to support at future build sites, expanding access to innovative construction tools across the country. 12 other cities across 11 states have licensed to create their own Eden Villages, according to previous News-Leader reporting. Eden Village is already planning and raising money for 2 additional villages beyond Eden Village number 3.
Coming to us from the News-Leader today, we have several obituaries over the last couple of days. Melissa Ann Bryan, age 72, resident of Butler, Missouri, passed after a long illness on December 26, 2025. Born Melissa Ann Sparkman on April 12, 1953, in Springfield, Missouri, she was preceded in death by her father, James Theron Sparkman, and first ex-husband, Mark Breckup. Melissa lived in Kansas City and worked for the University of Kansas Medical Center. She married second husband, Randy Lee Bryan, with whom she had a daughter, Kristen Lee Bryan. Melissa then relocated to Springfield, Missouri, where she earned an associate's degree from Ozarks Technical College and worked in marketing for Lakeland Regional Hospital, among other employers. Melissa loved rock music, the music of Phil Collins in particular, and enjoyed going to rock concert in her earlier years. Ringo was her favorite Beatle and always wanted to play the drums herself. Melissa was a collector and in particular loved reading and collecting books. She especially loved the horror genre. She also loved dogs and had one to love and hold throughout her life. Lucifer, Sam, Pixie, Luna, and Poppy were some of the dogs whom she made part of her family. Melissa is survived by her daughter, Kristen Lee Bryan, older sister, Rebecca L. Havens, a younger brother, Bruce Trevor Sparkman, nephew, Andrew T. Havens, nieces, Dinah Lynn Havens, and Natalie Elizabeth Havens, and ex-husband, Randy Lee Bryan. Service details are private for immediate family. Steve Underhill, 70, passed away on December 29, 2025. Arrangements provided by Green Lawn Funeral Home North. A visitation to celebrate his life will be held at Green Lawn North on January 7, 2026 from noon to 2 p.m. No services are planned. Harold Ambler, a longtime resident of Springfield, passed away at the wonderful age of 101 on December 26, 2025. He was born March 28, 1924, the only son of Ivan Alonzo and Agnes Ambler. He grew up during the Dust Bowl days in rural southeastern Kansas. When the U.S. entered World War II, he enlisted in U.S. Naval Aviation. After extensive training, he was awarded his aviator wings in December 1944, but was never shipped overseas and was discharged in November 1945. Harold married his high school sweetheart, Marjorie Bell, in May 1945. They were happily married for 73 years and had 3 children. Harold graduated from the University of Kansas in 1948 with a degree in accounting. Later that year, he was employed by the CPA firm of Baird, Kurtz & Dobson in Joplin. In 1950, he transferred to the firm's Springfield office, receiving his CPA certification in 1952. He quickly became a partner in the firm, and over the next 40-plus years, he was a principal force in growing BKD into one of America's most successful regional firms. He retired after serving as the firm's first managing partner in 1989. Harold served as a board member, officer, and volunteer for many professional and community organizations, including Friends of the Zoo, United Cerebral Palsy, Chamber of Commerce, Southwest Missouri Office of Aging, Missouri Society of CPAs, and the Missouri State Board of Accounting. He was an original founder of the Community Foundation of the Ozarks, serving on the board for many years. Harold was an energetic and generous individual, mentoring many people in his long career, including during his volunteer activities. After retirement, he served for 27 years in the tax counseling for the elderly program. He and Marjorie donated to the Dickerson Park Zoo to help build the Diversity of Life building, which bears their name. They supported the Springfield Botanical Gardens, donating funds for the new sensory garden fountains. Through the Community Foundation, they established a scholarship fund for accounting students. Harold received the Community Foundation's Humanitarian Award in 2016. Harold was an avid fisherman, floating the rivers of the southern Missouri. His fishing guide said of him, "He was the best fisherman I've ever met." His and Marge's love of fishing led to many trips to Minnesota, Canada, Alaska, and other locales. He loved traveling, nature, and gardening. He always had a beautiful yard that was full of bird feeders. He was a wonderful family man and a great dad and grandfather. Harold was preceded in death by his wife Marge and his 2 sisters, Helen Beck and Lois Holmes. He is survived by his children, Alan, Jackie, and Eric Ambler, and by 6 grandchildren and 11 great-grandchildren. A celebration of his life will be held in Springfield at a later time. In lieu of flowers, please send donations to the Community Foundation of the Ozarks to either the Ambler Fountains Maintenance Fund or the Harold and Marge Ambler Scholarship Fund. Finally, Bonnie Hallett, 87, passed away December 24, 2025. Arrangements provided by Green Lawn Funeral Home South. Services on January 5th at noon at Green Lawn Funeral Home South, Epps Cemetery.
The Willard police chief says, quote, "I'm blessed" as he prepares for transplant. And a couple of key points, Willard police chief Thomas McLean has been diagnosed with severe pulmonary fibrosis and needs a double lung transplant. Despite his diagnosis, McLean plans to continue serving as police chief after his surgery to fulfill a 40-year service vow to God. A fundraiser has been organized by his family to help cover medical and living expenses during his treatment and recovery. As the Willard Police Chief since 1993, Thomas McLean has been a steadfast presence in the community for decades. After being diagnosed with an aggressive lung disease, McLean is planning to join the list to receive a double lung transplant in 2026. Despite this health scare, he's determined to continue to serve and protect Willard and beyond. McLean has been part of the police force since 1987. He was hired in Willard in May 1993 and became a chief of police soon thereafter in September 1993. Through his years of service, his work has extended beyond enforcing the law. McLean has run the DARE, or Drug Abuse Resistance Education Program, and established Camp Character, an outgrowth of the Police Athletic League that offers local youth a safe place to explore the outdoors and master new skills. With more than 35 years in law enforcement, McLean first noticed something was wrong when he would be short of breath at the slightest bit of exertion. He works out religiously, he said, so it felt ridiculous when he noticed he was having trouble breathing starting a couple of years ago. In 2023, McLean said he raised his concerns with his doctor and had several tests run on his heart, all of which showed he was in good shape. He was told he was aging and simply needed to slow down. And follows a picture of Police Chief Tom McLean speaking during a press conference in 2020. But after continuing to seek answers, this October McLean saw a pulmonologist who diagnosed him with severe pulmonary fibrosis, a disease that occurs when lung tissue becomes damaged and scarred. Since then, preparation examinations have taken place at the Barnes Jewish Hospital in St. Louis to determine whether McLean was a good candidate for a double lung transplant and just how soon he could join the transplant list. Quote, initially I looked at this diagnosis with just despair, but now that I've had time to think about it, I realize I'm blessed in that yes, there's a significant life-altering issue, but there is also a very rock-solid solution, and I jumped through the hoops and I'm eligible for the solution, he says. Ashley Ensley, McLean's oldest daughter, said she'd noticed her father's health declining over the years and had grown concerned, noting that with his rigorous workout routine and years in a physical field meant, quote, there was nothing frail or weak about him. She said she was devastated when her dad was finally diagnosed, but also did not have time to fall apart and had time to spring into action to plan steps towards his recovery. And what follows is a picture of McLean with his daughters and his assigned Pontiac Trans Am as a take-home visit during his years in Oregon back in the early 90s. The disease is not curable or reversible, with the doctor giving him only a year of life left after his diagnosis, he said. McLean has been taking medication to slow progression of the disease, but said he felt it was not working, so instead he was setting his sights on the transplant. Even if it is working, I'd rather just get this show on the road, he says. McLean is raising funds for lung transplant and recovery. In late January, McLean will make his way back to St. Louis to undergo additional examinations to prepare to be added to the transplant list. He's hopeful he can join that list in early February, and from there, he said, things are expected to move quickly. McLean told the News-Leader the longest he'd likely need to wait for a double lung transplant is 3 months. On average, McLean said the transplant can extend a life by 9 years, though he noted he's spoken to survivors who have exceeded that. To prepare, McLean has stepped up his workout routine to ensure his best possible health for recovery. He says he's hopeful that he could recover within 3 months of the surgery. Beyond McLean's physical health, other preparation has been ongoing. Ensley has worked with the Help Hope Live Foundation to set up a fundraiser for her dad. The organization helps with fundraising efforts to cover costs of medical care that insurance doesn't cover, travel, additional treatments, and more. McLean's donation page hopes to raise at least $30,000. Ensley said that amount is the bare minimum to ensure her parents can stay in St. Louis for 3 months during and after the transplant surgery, pay out-of-pocket costs, therapies, and make up for the loss of income. She said she and her sister will be making trips to St. Louis as much as they can, but McLean's wife will become his full-time caregiver. Quote, so that's kind of what we're trying to focus on with the fundraiser, helping to bridge the gap between insurance and living expenses and everything like that, Ensley said. It's just everything is unknown, and that's a very scary thing. As of December 29th, more than $12,000 have been donated to the campaign, and those interested in contributing can visit www.helphopelive.org. McLean said he has marveled at the response and outpouring of support for he and his family. For Ensley, she said it has been incredible to read all the comments people have left about the impact and connection her dad has made with members of the community. Quote, my dad mostly, but also my mom, they were very nervous to put up the fundraiser and ask for help. And, they didn't want people to think that they were just like looking for handouts or anything, she says. I was like, well, you don't really have a choice. You can't do this by yourself. And I told my dad, you've given 40 years of your life to service, over 30 years of those here in Willard and in the 417 area. People love you. People want to see you do well. And you've touched so many lives. Let's just see where this goes. And the responses have just been a blessing and so cool to see. Inslee said as the transplant surgery nears, they will be planning more fundraising events within the community to bring everyone together and build support around her father's recovery. And what follows is a shot of Willard Police Chief Tom McLean at his most recent DARE program graduation. This was in April 2025 at the Willard North Intermediate School. Taking on a challenge, fulfilling a vow. Even with this diagnosis and doctor's appointment scheduled, McLean remains serving as Willard's police chief with no plans to give up his post even after his surgery. For the man who is also a pastor at the Rose Hill Baptist Church, his faith has played a large role in coming to terms with his health issue. Quote, I have a kind of vow to complete. When God called me to the profession of policing in June 1987, I vowed to him that I would give him 40 years, and that is June 2027, McLean said. Now I realize that maybe I won't make it, or it's possible that I will not be well enough to fulfill that vow. But it's also possible that I'll be one of the guys that recovers quickly and is back in the saddle within 2.5 months to 3 months. Moving forward, he said he's taking on pulmonary fibrosis as a challenge, motivated and willing to put in the work and do whatever it takes to come back to work. Let's get this show on the road, he says. I'll be single-minded when I wake up from the surgery. I am on the road to recovery. I'm going to be working as hard as I can to recover as quickly as I can. McLean said he's already had conversations with his team and Police Major Shannon Shipley for order of business in his absence and to find the most helpful ways he can serve as an administrative chief, at least initially in his return. While others in McLean's situation might look at retiring or taking a step back to focus on their health, Inslee said that was not her dad. She said she fully believes he will be back and deliver on his promise to continue to serve Willard. Quote, if he has a goal, it's not really movable, Inslee said. To me, knowing him, this is not putting a wrench in that 40 years in policing plan.
All right. Well, a happy New Year's Eve to everyone. It's also known as National Champagne Day. And the Springfield News-Leader has some tips for a safe and happy New Year's Eve in the Ozarks. Whether you're curled up at home or spending a night on the town, everyone should be able to have a safe New Year's Eve. If you have questions about what you can and can't do during the evening, we've got answers. Subheading says, can I take my alcoholic drink with me while I'm walking around downtown Springfield? No, you'll have to stay in the place where you were served the drink while you're consuming it. Springfield City Code says people can't take an open alcoholic beverage out of the place it was purchased and onto a public street or city parking lot. During special events that have a permit, attendees can have open alcoholic beverages within certain areas, but according to Springfield's calendar of permitted events, there are none happening in downtown Springfield on New Year's Eve. The next subheading, can I shoot off fireworks at my home? It depends on where your home is. If you live within Springfield city limits, no, you cannot set off fireworks for New Year's Eve unless you have a permit for an organized public fireworks display, according to the Springfield Fire Department. If you live in unincorporated Greene County, it is legal to set off fireworks. However, setting off fireworks may be considered peace disturbance since the loud noise could unreasonably and knowingly disturb or alarm another person. For the first offense, peace disturbance is considered a Class B misdemeanor. The second offense bumps it up to a Class A misdemeanor. Upon the third offense, if you're convicted, you'll have to pay a fine between $1,000 and $5,000. Can I fire a gun in the air to celebrate the new year? No celebratory gunfire is allowed in Springfield. In addition to local ordinances, there is a state law against it. In 2024, then-Governor Mike Parson signed Blair's Law, named for a Kansas City girl who was killed by a stray bullet during 2011 4th of July celebrations, which prohibits celebratory gunfire within or into the limits of any municipality. A first offense is considered a Class A misdemeanor, according to reporting from KCUR, while further offenses carry felony charges. Outside of Springfield, you could fire a gun with live ammunition to ring in the new year if you're sober, shooting into the air, and more than 100 yards away from an occupied schoolhouse, courthouse, or church building. However, remember that what goes up must come down. A 1995 study by Dr. Gary J. Ordog, then of the Department of Emergency Medicine at the King Drew UCLA Medical Center, found that falling bullets still had enough velocity to fracture bone and penetrate the brain. Even if a bullet doesn't hit someone, it could still cause property damage. Can I drive home if I've been drinking? If you have been drinking, do not drive. Get home safely with the help of a sober friend, a cab, or a rideshare service. Drinking and driving isn't just illegal, it can be fatal. According to data from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, more than 1 in 3 fatalities, 34%, during the 2023 New Year's Day holiday period involved a driver impaired by alcohol. Breakthrough Beverage Group, a beverage wholesaler, is offering 500 free Lyft rides home to Missourians in St. Louis, Kansas City, Columbia, and Springfield. You can access a free ride home from Lyft up to a $30 value from 2 p.m. December 31st through 2 a.m. January 1st with the ride code BBGMONYE25. The code can be claimed beginning at 9 a.m. December 31st.
MSU's list of inductees into its Athletics Hall of Fame includes sports writer Lyndall Scranton. And we see a picture of Mr. Scranton interviewing a member of the Missouri State Bears basketball team. Missouri State University will induct Springfield Daily Citizen contributing sports writer Lyndall Scranton, 7 former athletes, and a national championship team as part of its Athletics Hall of Fame class of 2025-26. Scranton is a longtime local sports writer who's covered MSU sports for decades. He worked at the Springfield News-Leader from 1979 to 2015. In 1989, he became Missouri State's primary beat writer and served in that capacity until his retirement. After Scranton left the News-Leader, he became Public Relations Director for Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland and has been a contributing sports reporter for the Springfield Daily Citizen. Scranton is this year's winner of the Don Payton Award. Payton, who died in 2014 at 87, was former Director of Information and Publications for MSU. He retired from MSU in 1987. Payton also wrote over 75 plays that were published and worked as a local sports reporter on TV and in print. The award that bears his name was created in 2017. It's given to someone who is neither a coach nor an athlete. This year's Hall of Fame ceremonies will be taking place at 10 a.m. on Saturday, February 14th, with a brunch at the Old Glass Place, 521 East St. Louis Street here in Springfield. Tickets are $25 and can be purchased through the Bears Fund, or can be you can email at pageGrissom@MissouriState.edu for more information. The 50th Missouri State Athletics Hall of Fame class will also be honored at halftime of the Bears' 2 o'clock basketball game versus Delaware, also set on February 14th. Tickets can be obtained by heading to MissouriStateBears.com/tickets or call 417-836-7678 during regular box office hours. Next headline reads 1963 men's golf team. This year's team inductee is the 1963 men's golf team under head coach Andy McDonald. The Bears won the first ever NCAA College Division, now Division II, national championship with team members Bill Lucas, Larry Gooch, John Henage, Dick Baxter, Jim Wheeler, and Bruce Hollowell. The Bears hosted the national meet at Grandview Golf Course in Springfield, and the Mid-America Intercollegiate Athletics Association champions beat out Aquinas College of Michigan by 11 strokes. The rest of the 2025-26 Hall of Fame class includes the following standout athletes: basketball stars Elise Johnson, Tyona Snow, Kyle Weems, volleyball setter Chenille Bayless-Gelmer, truck and field standout Kurt Brand, swimmer Andy Rojas, and baseball relief pitcher Bob Zimmerman.
And in more sports news from the Springfield Daily Citizen, Nixa pulls away from upset-minded Hartville to capture Gold Division crown. There's a photo of some young men here in their jerseys on the basketball court holding and looking at a trophy that says 30th Annual Blue Gold. Despite its meager enrollment, Class II power Hartville has long had a way of frustrating even the most talent-stocked programs in southwest Missouri. Class 6 and top-seeded Nixa was temporarily among them in Tuesday's Blue and Gold Tournament Gold Division title game in front of a sizable Great Southern Bank Arena audience. The Wright County School of 195 students, which has won 12 of its past 13 district championships and 4 state titles since 2016, runs patient half-court sets, hits the open shots, and plays with a defensive intensity that helps propel the former. Nixa, a Class 6 state semifinalist earlier this year, was able to pull away from number 2 seed Hartville in a 57-50 win in the 80th edition of the Greenwood-hosted Hoops Gathering by exhibiting toughness and resolve of its own. Nixa took a 41-37 edge into the fourth quarter and proceeded to clamp down and force turnovers during the stretch. Forward Adam McKnight, who had a team-high 14 points, hit 4 free throws in the closing minutes to help avoid the upset. Paced by All-State guard Mason Codgel, 19 points, Hartville and its band of hot shooting guards connected on 12 three-pointers and had a pair of 10-point leads before going into halftime with a 28-28 tie. For many of the Ozarks high school basketball enthusiasts in attendance, it evoked memories of Hartville's 57-46 win over Nixa in the 2020 Blue and Gold Championship game. When we came back and tied it at half, it felt like we were down 20 because we were playing so bad, said Nixa guard Randy Flint, who had 13 points. But we knew if we played as good as we usually do, we'd have it. Truett Coriel's fourth and final three-pointer gave Hartville a 33-32 edge with 6 minutes and 20 seconds left in the third quarter, its final lead of the ballgame. Flint would hit a three-pointer to give Nixa a 48-42 edge early in the fourth quarter, and the athletic defensive-paced Eagles of Christian County proceeded to show why they were a number 1 seed. I think their pressure got to us, just a few too many turnovers, and just a few little things, attention to detail type things that we just didn't get done, Hartville coach Brett Reed said. But that's credit to Nixa. What a great basketball team they are and a great program. Very well coached. Codgel agreed. They're a good defensive team, you know. That's a credit to them, Codgel said. There's things we could have done different offensively to help that. Nixa coach Brock Blansett lauded Reed and Hartville and said Nixa struggled guarding the Eagles in man defense and felt fortunate there was a shot clock in this edition of the tournament, unlike previous years. They're always tough to play. They're just good at what they do, Blansett said. When they're born, they literally start running that offense. They've run it for 18 years and are good at it. Nixa did most of its work inside, boosted by the efforts of McKnight, fellow forward Colt McCoy with 11 points, and senior wing Ty Kellis, 13 points, whose floating reverse layup at halftime buzzer went down. Nothing in my body told me we were going to lose. I just knew we had to get it in, Flint said. No forced shots or dumb shots, and we'd be right back in the game just like that. With the win, Nixa captured its 13th Blue and Gold Championship trophy.
New owner with a checkered past takes over 3 Missouri newspapers. A couple of key points. A company run by polarizing political figure Scott Fawn is acquiring 3 Missouri newspapers. Fawn has a history of scandals, including a felony conviction and involvement in the controversy surrounding former Governor Eric Greitens. The previous owner, Waco Media Incorporated, stated the papers have not been profitable since their 2008 purchase. A trio of newspapers that cover Missouri's capital city and surrounding communities will now be run by a familiar and polarizing figure in state politics whose career has been marked by scandal. Scott Vaughn announced on Monday that his company was taking over the Jefferson City News-Tribune, Fulton Sun, and California Democrat from Arkansas-based Waco Media Incorporated, which has owned the paper since 2008. Fawn, whose company currently publishes an online compendium of press releases and opinion pieces called the Missouri Times, said in a press release that all 3 newspapers will continue to operate under their current names and locations. Employees, he said, will remain in their current positions. And what follows is a picture of Mr. Fawn testifying in 2018 to the Missouri House Special Investigative Committee on an oversight about paying over $120,000 in cash to a St. Louis attorney. Quote, "We're honored to carry forward the legacy of the News-Tribune, Fulton Sun, and California Democrat," he says. "Our goal is to maintain the high level of service readers expect while investing in the long-term success of those publications." Walter Husband Jr., publisher and chairman of Waco Media, said at a press conference Monday that the papers have not been profitable since his company purchased them. He called community journalism a, quote, "public trust," adding that he's hopeful that under local ownership, the papers will thrive. Vaughn has been involved in politics since a young age. He became mayor of Poplar Bluff at the age of 22 in 2002. He then led the Poplar Bluff Chamber of Commerce and was a catalyst behind a successful effort to widen the local highway. But he was convicted in 2007 of 3 felony counts for forging checks from an account related to that effort. He started the Missouri Times in 2012 with former Missouri House Speaker Rod Jetton, who's no longer involved with the company. His first brush with controversy in state politics came in 2015 when it was revealed he was hosting parties for lawmakers in Jefferson City that were paid for by lobbyists. The arrangement nearly got the Missouri Times booted from the Capitol Press Association, as it was widely seen as a strategy to help lawmakers avoiding disclosure of lobbyist gifts. In early 2018, Vaughn paid $120,000 in cash in several installments to a St. Louis attorney who was representing the ex-husband of the woman who accused then-Governor Eric Greitens of sexual assault. Shortly after the first payment, St. Louis television station KMOV broadcast a recording provided by the ex-husband of his former wife, detailing how Greitens allegedly tied her up, stripped off her clothes, photographed her naked without her consent, and threatened to release the image if she told anyone about their affair. The recording was made without the woman's knowledge and publicized without her consent. Vaughn kept the payments secret for months while continuing to cover Greitens both in his newspaper and on his TV show. When the payments were eventually revealed during a court proceeding, Vaughn fled the state to avoid a subpoena from Greitens' lawyers. When he was eventually called to testify before a Missouri House Investigative Committee, Vaughn said under oath that the money was for the purchase of recordings of Greitens' alleged victim talking about physical abuse for a book he was working on, even though other journalists got the recordings for free. Lawmakers publicly questioned his explanation, especially after the attorney whom he paid testified that Vaughn told him the money came from an unnamed wealthy Republican who did not like Greitens. One Republican called Vaughn's testimony, quote, mind-boggling. Lawyers representing Greitens at the time alleged Vaughn's connection was through the low-income housing tax credit industry. Greitens tried to eliminate the tax credit, while Vaughn's television show was sponsored by a bank heavily involved in the industry. The Missouri Times was expelled from the Press Association over the Greitens revelations. Since then, questions about the editorial independence of Vaughn's new operations have continued to swirl. Ironically, the Jefferson City News Tribune was one of the organizations that most loudly denounced Vaughn after his involvement in the Greitens scandals were revealed. When a, quote, journalist is more interested in being involved in a big news event than simply reporting on it, the paper argued, he should no longer be considered a journalist. Vaughn's history did not come up at Monday's Missouri press conference. Hussman urged readers and the business community to rally around Vaughn, who he said, quote, shares his commitment to customers, employees, and the community.
All right, from Springfield Daily Citizen, Steve Pokin is answering, why did work stop on construction of new Burger King in Ozark? There's a photo of what appears to be a construction site with a partially erected building and a large Burger King sign out front. Answer Man. In 2022, the Burger King in Ozark was damaged by fire. The building was razed and the lot was empty. Late last year, construction started for about a month and then everything halted again. The construction fence is still up. It's an eyesore. Would you find out exactly what is going on with this? John Hamilton of Ozark. John, I have to admit, it's a bit intimidating when someone asks me not only to find out what is going on, but to find out exactly what is going on. Nevertheless, I'll tell you what I've learned. Meeks, which sells lumber and building materials, on September 3rd placed a mechanics lien on the Burger King property at 1699 West Jackson Street. A mechanics lien is a tool used to secure payment for an unpaid debt. It attaches to the property's title. The lien was satisfied and removed on December 10th, according to court records, but it might explain the delay. Following is a photo of the construction fence itself with a couple of warning signs posted to keep trespassers out. The Meeks store at 735 North Massey Boulevard in Nixa had alleged in court filings that it sold $33,605 in building materials for the project and was not paid. It sued Checkmark Construction, LLC, in Blue Springs, Burger King, and the Missouri company that is listed as the owner of the property in public records, 1699 West Jackson Street, LLC. This happens a lot in development. The limited liability company formed to construct a project carries the address of the project. Following is a subheading that the owner's mailing address is in Brooklyn. I drove to Ozark earlier this month to take a look, and yes, the site looks like an eyesore. It's nestled between a Great Southern Bank and a Commerce Bank, and is just off the east side of Highway 65. The legal owner of the Burger King site in Ozark, as I mentioned, is a limited liability company that has the same name as the address. The mailing address for this company is 35 Seacoast Terrace in Brighton Beach in Brooklyn, New York. David Zatukny of New Jersey tells me his family owns the land, but not whatever building is on the land. His family bought it about 15 years ago. A Burger King was on the property at the time of purchase. The Burger King franchise operator pays Zatukny's family rent. Zatukny was aware of the December 2022 fire, but was under the false impression that rebuilding of a new Burger King was going well. I sent him the photos that I took that are in this column. He tells me the current franchise owner of the Burger King is the Tasty Restaurant Group with headquarters in Dallas. It operates and manages hundreds of quick-service restaurants for major brands like Burger King, Pizza Hut, Dunkin', Kentucky Fried Chicken, and Taco Bell. The name Rosa Banks with the Tasty Restaurant Group appears on one of the building permit applications filed with the city of Ozark. I called her and sent her an email wanting to know the reason for the delay and the mechanics lien, but did not hear back before this column was published. City officials haven't been that helpful either. Neither the city's public information officer nor the city's planning and development department have returned my calls. I suspect the Christmas holiday has something to do with that. Checkmark, the general contractor, didn't return my call either. Final, another subheading here, a city without a Burger King. Many people in Ozark are pondering why work stalled on construction of the new Burger King, says Chris Russell, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Ozark Area Chamber of Commerce. The Ozark Chamber made the following post a year ago. And it looks like there's a Facebook post that's been screenshotted from the Ozark Chamber of Commerce on December 20th, 2024 that says, "Who is excited for the new Burger King coming to the old location? Construction has started. Hashtag Shop Ozark Mo. Here is the concept art." We've got a lot going on in Ozark right now, Russell tells me, but this one just seemed to have stalled out, and I don't have any clue why. There's another photo of the construction site with a lot of debris lying around that does definitely appear to be an eyesore. Russell confirms what I've been told. Since the Burger King fire on December 5th, 2022, Ozark has been a city without a single Burger King. Russell held a similar position for 5 years at the Nixa Chamber before taking the job in Ozark. I ask if he regrets the move now that Ozark is Burger King-less. Nixa doesn't have a Burger King either, he tells me. The final subheading, Ozark Burger King once owned by a Minnesota company. Duke & King Acquisition Corp., a Burnsville, Minnesota-based operator, once owned the Ozark Burger King, as well as 86 other franchised Burger Kings. The company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 2010. A July 2011 story in the Springfield Business Journal listed the local owners as Mike Dam and Min Chi Lo. This is Answer Man column number 154.
And grass-fed ground beef has been recalled in 6 states over possible E. coli contamination. The U.S. Department of Agriculture has announced Idaho-based Mountain West Food Group is recalling roughly 2,800 pounds of ground beef. The ground beef was sold in California, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Pennsylvania, and Washington State. And in other news, see how unemployment claim numbers have changed in Missouri the last week. Initial filings for unemployment benefits in Missouri rose last week compared with the week prior, the U.S. Department of Labor said on Thursday. New jobless claims, a proxy for layoffs, increased to 5,619 in the week ending December 19th, up from just a little over 4,000 the week before, the Labor Department said. U.S. unemployment claims dropped to 214,000 last week, down 10,000 claims from 224,000 the week prior on a seasonally adjusted basis. Nebraska saw the largest percentage increase in weekly claims, with claims jumping by 63.3%. West Virginia, meanwhile, saw the largest percentage drop in new claims, with claims dropping to just 39.7%. And SPS is opening 2 middle schools and breaking ground on 3 projects in 2026. A couple of key points. The Springfield School District will hire a new deputy superintendent of operations to replace the retiring Travis Shaw. A new faculty master plan and demographic study will be developed in 2026 to guide future projects, and a potential 2028 bond issue. Discussions are ongoing about building indoor activity centers, possibly combined with storm shelters for the district's high schools. And work on the new Pipkin Middle School is so far ahead of schedule, the Springfield District felt comfortable scheduling the 2026 State of the Schools address in that building. Superintendent Granita Latham will be speaking to community leaders there August 6th, reflecting on the past year and a preview of goals for the next one. In an end-of-year interview with the News-Leader, Latham said construction of both Pipkin and Reed Middle School, home to a fine and performing arts academy model, are slated to be completed by summer. The district expects both to open for the 2026-27 school year. We're very excited, she said. Pipkin is 6 months ahead of schedule. And what follows is a picture of members of the Missouri Board of Education and Springfield school officials touring the construction site of the new Reed Academy. The Pipkin project started later than expected due to challenges with finding the right campus. Aware of that timeline, Travis Shaw, Deputy Superintendent of Operations, said Crossland Construction Company, which won the bid to build Pipkin, proposed a, quote, escalated construction plan. Quote, they just made a commitment from the very beginning that they wanted to get this project, and so they knew having a very aggressive schedule would help them get it, Shaw says. They've up to this point done nothing but deliver on exactly what they said they'd do. In addition to completing the 2 marquee middle school projects, the state's largest district will also break ground on 3 large projects in 2027, including a new Pershing Middle School, new Bingham Elementary, plus a significant renovation and addition for Bissett Elementary. This summer, shifts will happen to make the projects possible, including Bissett going through an extensive renovation and gain an addition, and its school staff and teachers will also temporarily operate out of the former Sherwood building on Sunshine Street during construction. Given the amount of work needed, Bingham will move to the old Jarrett building while the new school is built. A larger temporary space was needed because the elementary has more than 400 students. Pershing students in grades 6 through 8 will be able to remain in the existing building during the project, although the library will be removed. The existing K-8 school will eventually be demolished after the new middle school has been completed on another part of the campus. And in a recent interview, Latham and her leadership team offered a preview of changes planned for 2026. SPS will be hiring a new deputy superintendent. In mid-September, Travis Shaw made public plans to retire June 30th, which launched the search for his replacement. Hired by SPS in mid-2017 as Executive Director of Operations, the Wyoming native was promoted to his current role 2 years ago. He was previously superintendent in Crane and then Aurora. And what follows is a picture of SPS Superintendent Granita Latham speaking at a graduation ceremony earlier this year. Shaw was placed on paid administrative leave in mid-2025 as the district investigated an allegation of inappropriate behavior, but he returned to work in late June. Shaw, through an attorney, has denied any wrongdoing. The key position, one of only 2 deputy superintendents in the district, will report directly to Latham. Stephen Hall, Chief Communications Officer, said the district received 24 applications for the job. We've started the interview process for Dr. Shaw's replacement and hope to be able to announce in early January when we get back from the holidays. She says the goal is to have the next leader shadow Dr. Shaw and spend some time out in the new district before stepping into the role 1st of July. In the new year, Latham said the district plans to hire a firm to help develop a new faculty master plan and conduct a demographic study which identifies enrollment trends and evaluate facility usage. Shaw said the facility master plan, which provided details used for the 2019 and 2023 bond issues, was in 2016. That's 10-year-old data, and we have a lot of new buildings, obviously, and the ones that we have need to be updated, he said. And what follows is a picture of Deputy Superintendent Travis Shaw during a school board meeting. The district will soon request proposals from firms with work on a new facility master plan starting in April or May. It usually takes 8 to 9 months to do that work, Shaw says. Part of that will be an updated demographic and boundary study. Top officials said the results are expected to help inform short-term decisions and a potential bond issue in April 2028. When you think about the projects we still have left to do with Bingham and Bissett and Pershing, we'll finish up with those projects before we go for another bond issue. In recent years, area districts have been building indoor athletic and activity centers. They are opened or planned in Nixa, Ozark, Republic, and Logan-Rogersville, among others. Springfield explored the possibility of using $7.5 million to build one or more shared indoor athletic facilities for the high schools that could be used for athletic and band practices, JROTC, student activities, community events. In a December 19th interview, Latham said that following discussions from the board, discussions about the next steps are ongoing. The board wanted us to continue to explore that. We did set aside some monies just in case. We wanted to see if we could build one facility. But then the conversation turned into we wanted to look at facilities across all 5 of our high schools and also incorporate a storm shelter. No decisions have been made, but Latham noted storm shelters are a community need in Springfield. The district has been adding storm shelters as a part of many construction projects in recent years. At the indoor athletic and activity centers, Latham said we're still in the studying phase and gather information for the board to be able to make a decision on just what is next. And at the start of the current school year, SBS expanded busing eligibility. All elementary, intermediate, and K-8 students who live 1 mile or more from school were eligible for a ride starting this fall, an increase of 1,100 students. Eligibility previously started at 1.5 miles. This year, more than 11,000 students are eligible to ride the bus. In 2024, SPS piloted a Where's the Bus app, which allows parents to know in real time where their child's bus is located. It also alerts parents when students get on and off the bus. It was fully launched in 2025. The board voted in August to contract with the Ever-Driven company to provide customized transportation using a fleet of passenger cars and minivans for students with out-of-the-ordinary needs, schedules, or locations.
All right, coming to us from the Springfield Daily Citizen, this headline reads, MSU archaeologists find their suspected structures in Amazon expedition, and much more. On the day of one of their biggest finds among tree-covered ruins in the Amazon jungle, 2 archaeologists had to cut their day short. Otherwise, they would have missed playing in a volleyball tournament. We wanted to stay out there longer, said Daniel Pierce. That was the day that we had our biggest discoveries, but we were like, we gotta go play volleyball in half an hour. We gotta go. Pierce and Christopher Bodine, archaeology professors with Missouri State University, recently returned from a 2-week trip to the Amazonian rainforest. They had hoped to find some ground truth to the existence of man-made structures that, hidden by the thick jungle canopy, had been revealed using new laser-based technology. They found them and much more. So much more that they hope to return in a few months to the small village that became a base of operations for about a week as they ventured into the jungle and cataloged their finds. There's a photo of Daniel Pierce and Ronisley Martins as they snack on sugar canes and look at some maps. The 2 are sitting on the specifics of their finds for now. Over the next few months, they will be working feverishly to publish their findings in respected peer journals such as Science and Nature. The 2 also have appearances at archaeological conferences planned. For now, days after the coming back from the Amazon, the 2 are grateful to donors who supported their trip and for the contacts they made during it. Going in, we thought these are geoglyphs that represent evidence of a large-scale settlement, Pierce said in an interview Monday back in Springfield. But some of the things we found, things we didn't anticipate finding, are pieces of evidence that indicate even more than we thought. We found confirmation of our hypothesis, plus something else. The next subheading reads, Suspicions of a Lost Amazon Settlement. Pierce and Bodine earlier this year poured through LIDAR, a nickname for light detection and ranging, images collected by other groups. Specifically, they spotted what they called a geoglyph, in this case a diamond shape too geometric to be a natural feature. A side trip of their expedition was to visit a site near Rio Branco in the Brazilian state Acre. But their main and first destination was a site about 200 miles away from Manaus, a city of about 1 million people in the heart of the Amazon rainforest. There's a photo of Christopher Bodine operating a drone on a beach here near an area nicknamed Iguana Island. Their suspicion is that the structure indicates the Amazon was not always such a dense jungle and that some areas were more like a savanna, enabling farmers to grow food and raise livestock. Pierce and Bodine raised about $15,000 and were able to start their trip on December 4th. They were able to catch flights all the way to Manaus. With the help of a guide and outfitter named Herzog Nascimento, they traveled by boat across the Rio Negro for about 200 miles until they disembarked for their inland quest. Dealing with heat indices as high as 115 degrees, they fished for piranha to add protein to their diets and slept in the open air on hammocks with nothing but mosquito netting. Important not for mosquitoes, but for an even more dangerous animal. The Rio Negro's water is black, Bodine said. It has so much tannin in the water and is so acidic that it will kill mosquito eggs. The nets are for the abundant vampire bats that fly around, Pierce said. The vampire bats will bite you while you are sleeping and give you rabies. When planning their expedition, they hoped to make contact with people at a small village near their site. They were pleased to discover people there. The Daily Citizen is not reporting the name of the village in order to protect the site from exposure before their findings can be published and peer-reviewed. There's a photo of Christopher Bodine on a very rickety wooden bridge in bad repair in the Amazonian village. That village became a base of operations for the two, where they became part of the community. They found a group of people living meager, subsistence-based lives and joined them in their daily lives. The people they found were not primitive. They had access to the internet via satellite and a few cell phones, and had a generator that could be powered on for about 3 hours a day. Village members helped pay for their share of generator use, Bodine said. But the people who lived there had to focus primarily on survival, Bodine said, not working what would be considered typical American jobs in our culture. The houses they slept in were not sealed from the elements. The archaeologists took part in community activities such as the volleyball tournament. The women of the village enjoyed the sport and play regularly on a makeshift court, Pierce said. The importance of that community activity was not lost on the professors. Getting support from locals was important, but the village's needs were magnified. Bodine said that the village is spread across a river that, when the rainy season rolls around, sequesters half of it on an island connected by a single long bridge. That bridge is in serious disrepair, and the village's well has broken down. It's not just the archaeology that I'm interested in now, Bodine said. I want to help them fix the bridge. I care about that village probably as much as the archaeology, and I think part of our future research and expeditions should not only do the science, but help the locals while we're doing the science. The following subheadline reads, Finding What They Suspected and Much More. Those villagers were a part of their successful expedition, Pierce said. The first couple of days were spent with them as guides. The archaeologists and a survival expert named Ronisley Martins ventured daily toward the area where they believed their large diamond to be situated. Language barriers and GPS failures slowed progress, but once they discovered they all had Spanish in common, Pierce said, they caught back up. There's a photo of Daniel Pierce as he makes his way through the thick jungle overgrowth. Not that they kept up a breakneck pace. The professors had to use machetes to progress deeper into the jungle where they wanted to go. They were able to use digital maps to position themselves and recognize key features. Every day they ventured into the jungle, they saw more of what they hoped to find, including pottery and other relics. Martins, who is also an archaeology professor at the Federal University of Amazonas, shared their excitement. A good thing about having him there was how he kept us grounded, Pierce said. If it was just us, then we could think something was a big deal, but maybe there's something we're missing in the Portuguese literature, or maybe the Brazilians know about something that we don't. But having him there, we could always ask if something we found was a big deal. The final subheading here says, Hoping to Return. Pierce and Bodine left everything they found where it was. Using drones and other tech, they took only pictures and recorded data for further study. The area is protected by the Brazilian government, and the two archaeologists have permission only for reconnaissance, not recovery. That's fortunate in some respects because the site will be protected from logging efforts that have cleared other areas of the Amazon. The exposure of the ground from logging led to the discovery of the geoglyphs at Rio Branco, they said. But it also adds a risk for the two. Once word of their finding reaches the larger world, a sort of gold rush could start, and others will want to see the undiscovered settlement for themselves, and that may complicate the archaeologists' attempts for more permits. Still, the two want to return as soon as possible. As they present their findings to other archaeologists, they plan to raise even more money for a trip, hopefully in August, when the river levels are at their lowest. And the two also want to raise money to help the village with its needs, including that bridge and well. The site has much more story to tell and can redefine our understanding of the Amazon, they said. Once thought of as a harsh environment for humans, the site shows that it could have been bustling with human activity. The side trip to Acre, with revealed structures as long as 1,500 or 2,000 feet, showed that what is hiding underneath the trees near the village could be massive. There's so much more than what we thought, so it could be exciting, Bodine said. This cannot have existed when they built this because there is no way to build it with the jungle in the way. They are of a size that takes a division of labor in large scale.
And you're listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service. Hope you'll come by and see us in person with daily deals at 2713 North Kansas Expressway here in Springfield, Missouri. Veterans receive a 25% discount every day, providing significant savings as a token of appreciation for their service. Additionally, the store features a weekly clothing sale where all clothing items are available at 50% off every Wednesday. Seniors age 55 and older benefit from a 25% discount every Tuesday, making shopping more affordable for the senior community. Springfield police are urging safe practices this New Year's Eve. This New Year's Eve, thousands will be coming into downtown Springfield to ring in the new year, but there are some important safety tips Springfield police want you to keep in mind before you head out. Lieutenant Brendan Penrose says the Springfield Police Department doesn't usually see a spike in crime around the holiday, but they're always prepared. Quote, "We always have efforts in going out trying to enforce that," he said, stopping vehicles and everything like that. And that's every day of the year that we're doing that particular stopping vehicles. But as far as downtown or any other activities down there, we always have plans in place to keep everybody safe because we want people to go out and enjoy themselves, but we just want them to do it responsibly. Always have a plan. Know who you're going out with and stick with your group while you're out, and keep your phone with you in case you get separated. These events draw large crowds, and large crowds come with the risk of becoming a victim if you're not ready. Being alert, Penrose said, and that's a general crime safety tip, whether it's to help prevent theft by trying to put yourself in the best spot where you could have a less of a chance of becoming a victim. Also, never leave your drink unattended, and be sure to take only drinks that come directly from the bartender or wait staff. And of course, if you're drinking, have a sober ride planned. Don't drink and drive, said Penrose. A lot of times making those plans beforehand, whether it's an Uber, Lyft, or some other designated driver to drive you wherever you're going, we always have efforts and go out trying to enforce that, stopping vehicles and everything like that. And if you see something, say something. For the downtown pub crawl, police officers will be right around the corner to help.
All right, and fresh news out of the Springfield Daily Citizen. Brown Derby Wine Center and Deli to expand, open organic grocer inside. There's a photo of the Brown Derby Wine Center and Marketplace located at 2023 South Glenstone Avenue. The new year will bring big changes to Brown Derby Wine Center and Marketplace. The Springfield-based company announced a complete renovation to the wine center, including an overhaul of Derby Deli, located at 2023 South Glenstone Avenue. As part of the expansion, the Spirit Company will welcome Arkansas-based Nature's Wonders, a natural grocer, as a co-tenant and partner in the updated space. Construction will begin January 1st, 2026, with a grand reopening tentatively scheduled for late spring to early summer, according to a Brown Derby press release. The wine center will close during the remodel. Guests can look forward to a thoughtfully integrated space that combines Brown Derby's world-class wine and gourmet offerings with Nature's Wonders' commitment to natural living, a Brown Derby representative said in a company press release. The expansion will feature Springfield's first Nature's Wonders, which was founded in 1994 in Harrison, Arkansas. The company has become known for its organic grocery items, pure supplements, natural pet products, backyard nature products, and more. Derby Deli, which opened in 2014 inside the Marketplace, will be upgraded as part of the remodel, according to the press release. The upgraded deli will feature more seating, an outdoor patio, and a bar. The renovated Brown Derby will offer more wine, beer, spirits, fine foods, cheeses, and deli items. Brown Derby Wine Center opened in 1970 on the Bass Pro Shops parking lot before relocating in 1995 to South Glenstone Avenue.
And Missouri lawmakers are seeking to expand agriculture education in a statewide program. A couple of key points: Missouri lawmakers have filed bills to create a statewide agriculture education program for K-12 public schools. The proposed legislation aims to expand an existing pilot program to benefit students in both urban and rural areas. And the voluntary program will be overseen by the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, with potential for public-private partnerships. This is from the Springfield News-Leader. Missouri public school officials could see more agriculture-based science lessons starting in kindergarten through high school under bills pre-filed in both state legislative chambers that would establish a new statewide program. Lawmakers in the state's most populous cities filed the bills hoping agriculture education can benefit students in both urban and rural areas. Quote, I'm a proponent of continuing to have agriculture education and not just in our rural schools, but to have this everywhere so that our kids are exposed to agriculture as a science, says State Senator Barbara Washington, a Democrat from Kansas City. And we see a picture of State Representative Adrian Plank, a Democrat from Columbia, speaking during a press conference earlier this year. Among his bills pre-filed for the 2026 legislative session, he's proposed creating the statewide agriculture education program. She filed the bill for the second year in a row, inspired by personal experiences, citing homegrown food and visiting Kansas City schools who incorporate agriculture into education. The legislation uses an existing statute which established a pilot program for agriculture education in 2020 to make way for a permanent program that can be rolled out statewide. The pilot ran from 2020 to 2023, starting with 44 teachers in 3rd through 5th grades participating. When it ended, only 20 teachers were participating. COVID-19 pandemic put stress on the program, according to the program's final report, and teachers had mixed feelings about the curriculum. In periodic surveys, educators said they didn't have enough time to complete the lessons in their entirety, but said the hands-on activities kept students engaged. While the pilot program set the framework for the bill, the legislation would not lock in the same program curriculum or format. It would also be voluntary. State Representative John Martin, a Republican from Columbia, says he sees opportunities for the state to partner with Missouri Farmers Care. The nonprofit, which advocates for expanded agriculture opportunities, has a program called Agriculture Education on the Move, which is currently in some of the state's public schools. The Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, which would be responsible for overseeing the program, is open to public-private partnerships. Quote, it's our intention to work side by side with the many current commodities groups that are providing this access currently, the department spokesman said in an emailed statement. Quote, it's our hope with this legislation to provide continued access for students in learning about agriculture in the state of Missouri. Martin started sponsoring the bill last year after Columbia Democratic State Representative Adrian Plank asked him to team up. Plank was the first to file the bill in 2024, but it didn't get any traction. Last year, with Martin filing an identical bill, it passed a House committee with unanimous approval. But the momentum was stifled after Plank took a leave of absence to undergo heart surgery. Quote, me and him together, we should be able to get on something like this year pretty easily, Plank told The Independent. Governor Mike Kehoe also appears to be supportive of the legislation. Martin told The Independent that there is growing interest from agriculture organizations. Quote, those farmers who come to my office are so anxious to be a part of exposing their world to children at a younger age, Washington says. And if we expose the children to agriculture now, then they know that there are opportunities for them in the workplace. The estimated cost, based on last year's fiscal note, is limited to teacher training at $116,000 annually. Quote, if the program gets bigger, which I believe it will, then we will go and advocate for funding for the program, Plank said, especially if it's going to be as successful as I think it will be.
The Springfield News-Leader discusses how a donated school bus will help Eden Village build 3D printed homes. Through several partnerships, Eden Village will have its own specialized bus to aid in constructing its third community in Springfield. A school bus donated by First Student, the largest school transportation company in North America, will be revamped to be able to transport its 3D printer that builds homes for chronically homeless individuals. Eden Village is a tiny home community aimed at addressing the needs of chronically homeless individuals with disabling conditions. The local nonprofit will take on constructing Eden Village 3, its third community of its kind in the Queen City, at 2419 West High Street. It will feature 12 3D printed concrete duplexes that are all weather resistant and can double as tornado shelters. The donated bus will be used to transport critical components of the 3D printer. First, students in Drury University School of Architecture, specifically those in the Design Build program, will lead the redesign to transport the school bus into a dual-purpose mobile unit, according to a First Student News release. With the 3D printer, including high-precision parts, the students will be tasked with ensuring the vehicle can safely carry the equipment that cannot be transported on traditional equipment haulers. Students' plans also include building a functional mobile construction office with fold-out workstations, dedicated storage, blueprint space, and potential enhancements like HVAC, solar power, and an exterior awning, according to the release. repurposing a former school bus into a dual-purpose mobile unit serving as both a construction office and a mobile hub for 3D printer storage and fabrication, embodies our shared commitment to innovation, collaboration, and hands-on learning in service of the community, said Tracy Suter, director of the Design Build program at Drury University in the release. Renovation work on the bus will be underway through the winter. The goal is to have the unit ready to deploy in March and April 2026 to support on-site construction when weather allows for concrete 3D printing. While the bus will initially be used locally, the mobile nature of it allows for the possibility to support at future build sites, expanding access to innovative construction tools across the country. 12 other cities across 11 states have licensed to create their own Eden Villages, according to previous News-Leader reporting. Eden Village is already planning and raising money for 2 additional villages beyond Eden Village 3.
Several new laws will be taking effect in Missouri and Arkansas on New Year's Day, bringing changes to taxes, healthcare coverage, and emergency protocols. Missouri changes: Missouri will eliminate estate or trust income taxes that do not originate from the state. The American Beer Act reduces the state's malt liquor tax for beer produced at American breweries. The state is changing its emission fee structure for industries to a tiered per-ton fee schedule. And Missouri schools will implement a new statewide, quote, Stop the Bleed protocol to train school personnel in responding to medical emergencies. Arkansas updates include Arkansas ending the state sales tax on groceries beginning tomorrow. The state will include treatment of severe obesity under medical coverage plans, though this does not include injectable insulin or GLP-1 drugs for weight loss. Able-bodied Arkansans receiving SNAP benefits must volunteer for nonprofits that receive state funding. Arkansas will offer income tax credits to companies that move their headquarters to the state. And violent crime has declined in Springfield and across Missouri since peaking in 2021, according to the Real-Time Crime Index. Still, local law enforcement agencies face staffing shortages and budget cuts heading into the new year. The Springfield Police Department is currently down 50 officers, despite the public perception that adequate staffing exists at crime scenes. It's really going to benefit the public because the workload, especially on patrol, can be overwhelming, said Chief Paul Williams. Chief Williams said the department is seeing more applicants and fewer retirements. The department still has hiring incentives in place until it reaches full staffing. And the next headline reads, technology upgrades aren't planned. The Greene County Sheriff's Office has considered AI-enabled body cameras that can automatically translate Spanish or Russian into English and generate reports automatically. We're looking at it because it makes sense. It'll get an officer back on the street quicker and save time in the recording of all the information, said Sheriff Jim Arnott. The department will study the technology for 6 months before making a decision, and cost will be a key factor. Greene County also has plans to complete a gun range for training in 2026. Arnott said the department's 622 employees have trained at various sites, including the Andy Dalton School shooting range in Bodark. We've been in a field. We've been wherever we could get in. And now that we have 622 employees, that's not an easy task. And you don't have your own range, Sheriff Arnott adds. So this is just going to take our training to the next level. And we won't be doing minimum standards. We'll be doing more than minimum. And we're excited to see the training opportunities. And federal funding cuts impact prevention programs. Violence prevention groups have lost federal funding, and budget cuts will leave cities with fewer resources to combat crime in 2026. The Department of Justice cut $820 million for crime prevention and victim services this year. Programs that lost funding included court-appointed special advocates in Springfield and Arkansas, as well as a program to tackle opioid abuse.
Springfield Daily Citizen has us taking a look at major projects planned in Nixa, Ozark, and Republic for 2026. Nixa, Ozark, and Republic each have several major projects planned and budgeted for 2026, from road improvements to park projects and police facilities. In each community, officials have felt the squeeze of inflation driving up costs for construction and new infrastructure. Meanwhile, residents of the suburbs appear to be spending less of their money at local businesses. Voters are also demonstrating more hesitance in approving municipal and county tax measures. In the November 4th election, Christian County voters struck down a local use tax measure the county commission proposed for products purchased online from out-of-state vendors, an effort to compensate for the county's flattening sales tax revenue. Nixa voters also rejected a tax levy increase for the fire department. After Ozark voters failed to pass a 2022 local use tax proposal that would have funded a new police headquarters, city officials voted in October 2025 to fund the project by diverting money from Ozarks General Fund and Public Works Department. Republic has temporarily placed a regional sports complex on hold after purchasing 136 acres of property for their project in 2021. Assistant Parks and Recreation Director Brad Stolche told the Daily Citizen that Republic needs to be financially responsible with the sales tax fund, which has become flatter than the city initially projected. Despite facing some challenges in the current economic environment, each city is moving forward with projects that will serve the public, including new infrastructure and amenities. This article highlights a few of the major projects planned and budgeted for 2026. NICSA projects in 2026 include a new police headquarters. There's a photo of NICSA police officers and community members as they break ground on the new law enforcement facility back in September on Tuesday the 30th. NICSA expects its new police department headquarters to be fully constructed by December 2026. The $15.2 million facility was funded by a 3/4 cent sales tax approved by NICSA voters in April 2023. At 22,000 square feet, it will be more than twice the size of the department's current space. Excuse me. An assessment of the department's needs previously indicated that it ideally required double the amount of space to operate. The headquarters will be located off Highway 14 on North Leanne Drive. Walking trails in State Park. A new walking trail on the F Family Century Farm Park, located off Gwynn Road, may be available in NICSA before the end of 2026. The city will put out a bid for a contractor to begin developing the property in January. In its 5-year capital improvement plan, NICSA also budgeted $1.2 million for the Streets Department to create a multi-use path along part of Cheyenne and North Roads. The CIP describes this path as the first phase of a project that will connect to the Finley River Connector and Chadwick Flyer Trails in Ozark. Additionally, the city is moving forward with plans for a skate park after years of interest from some residents. NICSA's Park Department is in the very early design phase of this project, Director of Parks and Recreation Matt Krause said in early December. Rotary Park is being considered as a potential site for the skate park. Main Street upgrades. NICSA will widen the portion of Main Street between Highway CC and Tracker Road, aiming to begin construction in March 2026. This project will add a center turn lane, pedestrian accommodations, and stormwater improvements, according to Street Superintendent Jeff Rousel. MoDOT is concurrently adding a roundabout at the intersection of Main Street and Highway CC. This spring, Christian County is putting out a bid for an engineer to study the intersection of Tracker Road and Nicholas Road. The intersection will receive improvements to facilitate the flow of traffic. A roundabout is one option that may be recommended pending the study. Ozarks projects in 2026 include more trails and connections. The Chadwick Flyer Trail was identified as a priority project for the Ozarks Transportation Organization in 2017. Since then, the City of Ozark has worked with OTO, Ozark Greenways, and other entities to create several miles of multi-use trails that will eventually connect to Springfield. A new pedestrian overpass that crosses Highway 65 will be walkable in spring 2026. Ozark has also planned a project this year to extend the Finley River Trail near the OC by just over half a mile. Additionally, the city plans to start a project in 2026 that will add a sidewalk to the north part of Jackson Street, connecting to the Chadwick Flyer Trail. It will enable pedestrians to access the commercial area northeast of the Jackson Street and Highway 65 intersection. The first phase of a new trail at Garrison Springs Community Forest is budgeted for this year. It will make a connection to the existing trails at Finley River Park. Also, a new police headquarters. Ozark is working on a project to create a new police headquarters. In early October, City Administrator Eric Johnson told the Daily Citizen that work on this facility is very preliminary. It could be completed in about 3 years, he said. The Ozark Police Department's current 6,000 square foot Brick Street facility was purchased as a temporary solution in 2005. Chief Justin Arnold said one 10 by 10 foot room is shared by about 23 staff members throughout the day, and officers often have trouble finding an available computer to use. Some revenue from the 1/4 cent sales tax that is currently dedicated to street maintenance will be diverted to the development of a new facility. The city expects that it may commit to 30 years of debt service. Also, water system improvements. Ozark has several major water infrastructure projects planned for 2026. The city will begin work on a new water tower and well in its northeast quadrant, which has been experiencing rapid commercial growth. Water pressure in this zone no longer meets recommended fire flow rates, according to Ozarks' capital improvement program for 2026 to 2030. Per the CIP, Ozark also plans to work with the developer for a large planned unit development in the northeast part of the city to increase the size and connectivity of water infrastructure proposed for the residential area. Finally, we have Republic projects in 2026, starting with J.R. Martin Park improvements. This summer, Republic's J.R. Martin Park will have new amenities, including a larger parking lot, dedicated space for food trucks, and an open-air pavilion that is designed to hold a farmer's market. A 2-lane road that currently cuts through the park will be omitted, according to Assistant Parks and Recreation Director Brad Stolche. That will improve the safety and increase the green space, he said. The $2.7 million project was funded by a part of a 2023 series of bonds Republic issued to the Parks Department for capital projects. They're also looking at a new wastewater plant. A new Republic wastewater plant is on track to begin operating in October 2026. Budgeted at $150 million, it is the city's largest single economic investment to date. The facility will address longstanding compliance issues the city has had with the Missouri Department of Natural Resources. The project was fully funded through multiple sources, including a tax-exempt bond, MDNR loan, and grants from both the federal government and the state of Missouri. Republic officials applied for more funding from the state in the 2025 budget cycle, which would have cut the amount of money the city drew from the loan. Governor Mike Kehoe vetoed this request. According to previous reporting from the Daily Citizen, sewer rates will continue increasing in Republic until 2029 to service the debt from this project.
Well, the Christmas music is fading, but the sounds of sneezing, coughing are on the rise. It's just that time of year. People are gathering. Influenza is a contagious virus, said Anna Kramer, Public Information Officer with the Springfield Greene County Health Department. Kramer said that while the numbers aren't in yet for the week of Christmas, over 360 cases have been reported so far, surpassing the 351 cases reported the previous week. Quote, we've more than doubled in the past 2 weeks, and so we are seeing a big spike, said Kramer. And as to who's being affected the most, she says we're seeing in the data reported to us that the majority of our cases are in children. According to the CDC, flu symptoms can range from mild to severe and sometimes lead to death. These symptoms include fever, cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, muscle aches, and vomiting or diarrhea. Quote, we always encourage, if your symptoms are not extreme or emergency warning signs, that you call your pediatrician or primary care provider and be seen during a sick visit, said Kramer. She said there are ways to stop the spread of the flu virus. You don't necessarily have to avoid public places, but just keep in mind that washing hands is so helpful, and coughing and sneezing into your elbow, said Kramer. Kramer said there is still a long way to go in this flu season. Quote, flu season actually goes pretty significantly into the spring, so we definitely encourage our community to get vaccinated. To see the latest flu numbers and other resources, there is more information online.
And if you're looking for something to do to celebrate on this New Year's Eve, coming to us from 417 Magazine, we have a list of New Year's Eve events in the Ozarks. Starting with Good Spirits & Co. headquarters at 424 East Cherry Suite, Suite A in Springfield. Got plans for New Year's Eve, but still looking for a celebration beforehand? On looks like we already missed that one. On December 28th, they hosted the final Sunday Supper Club with seasonal dishes. Today, Andy B's family party at 1127 East Battlefield Road. Roll into the new year on the lanes at Andy B's. If you're looking for a family night out, you won't want to miss the family party pack. A soiree at Pythian Castle at 1451 East Pythian Street in Springfield. Enjoy Pythian Castle's most lavish night of the year. Start the night off with dinner in the ballroom, followed by a Clue adventure game in the basement, and finally, dessert, a DJ, and party favors in the theater. Call 417-865-1464 for more information and reservations. Hotel Vandevort's New Year's Eve party at 305 East Walnut Street in Springfield. Nobody does New Year's Eve quite like Hotel V. Indulgent cocktails, chef-curated dishes, and a lively downtown atmosphere. While you're eating, enjoy live music, festive drinks, and a great ambiance. New Year's Eve at the Discovery Center, 438 East St. Louis Street in Springfield, 417-862-9910. Ring in the new year with the whole family at a much less challenging time of noon. Join the Discovery Center team for a dance party, balloon drop, and to explore new features at the center. Metro's annual New Year's Eve party at 2931 East Battlefield Road in Springfield. Phone number is 417-889-4951. Ring in the new year with Metro. Enjoy great food, festive cocktails, music, and more. Before the ball drops, a Whisper Mill New Year's Eve dinner experience at 417 Mill Market, 203 East Mount Vernon Street in Nixa, 417-763-6500. Ring in the new year in true 20 style at the Whisper Mill Speakeasy inside 14 Mill Market. Included with your ticket are perks like reserved seating, a welcome cocktail, specialty cocktail menu, party favors, and more. Check out the event for prices and more details. New Year's Eve pajama party at 2811 East Galloway Street, Suite A in Springfield. Head to 4x4 Brewing Company's Galloway location for a cozy New Year's Eve pajama party. Our Big Fat Greek New Year's Eve at Greek Belly at 320 East Walnut Street in Springfield, 417-597-3382. Choose dishes from a 5-course menu and enjoy entertainment from belly dancers and live musicians. Jazzy New Year's Eve party at Holdfast Brewing at 235 North Kimbrough Avenue in Springfield. Celebrate the new year downtown at Holdfast Brewing Company with live music from the Brigham and Gouge Jazz Band, plus an early New Year toast if you'd rather be home before midnight. Good luck, babe. Ringing in a year of luck and style at Fremont Hills, 9003 Sawgrass Avenue in Nixa. Enjoy a combination of New Year's celebration like dancing, food, and drinks with traditions from around the world at 4x4 Brewing Company's Fremont location. Fritz's New Year's Eve party at 425 West 76 Country Boulevard in Branson. You can enjoy a family-friendly night of New Year's fun at Fritz's Adventure with a live DJ, unlimited access to all attractions, a ball drop at midnight, door prizes, and much more. The New Year's Eve celebration at Big Cedar Lodge, 190 Top of the Rock Road in Ridgedale. As always, Big Cedar Lodge has a variety of celebrations, large and small, for all ages. Watch the fireworks in style with reserved seating at Devil's Pool Restaurant. Enjoy upscale regional cuisine at Osage Restaurant. Or party the night away at the Grandview Conference Center. Check out info on all this and more on the website. Big Cedar even offers New Year's Eve events for kids and teens. Finally, we have New Year's Eve at Finley Farms at 802 Finley Farms Lane in Ozark, 417-210-6644. Ring in the new year at the Garrison with a 6-course meal that includes poached lobster, prime filet, and more, plus signature cocktails, paired wine, VIP experiences, and more. Make sure you reserve now before spots sell out.
A 17-year-old driver died after being ejected from a vehicle in a crash. This happened Saturday night. A teen driver died after crashing into a guardrail and being ejected from the vehicle. Springfield Police Department officers responded to a single vehicle crash in the 200 block of East Norton Road about 6:30 Saturday night, December 27th, according to an SPD news release. A 17-year-old male was driving a 2004 Chevy Trailblazer westbound when it went off the roadway and struck the guardrail. According to the release, this ejected the driver, who was the only occupant, and the driver died at the scene. The circumstances of the crash are still part of an ongoing investigation. Anyone with information should contact the Springfield Police Department at 417-864-1810 or make an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers at 417-869-TIPS. 8477, or you can go online at p3tips.com. This was Springfield's 22nd fatal vehicle crash in 2025, which so far have claimed 23 lives. And the Missouri Department of Public Safety announced on Wednesday that the state has been awarded $14,024 million in federal funding to increase security during the FIFA World Cup. The funds come from the government's new Counter-Unmanned Aircraft Systems grant program and are specifically earmarked for increasing protection against drones. Quote, states can use the grants to strengthen their ability to detect, identify, track, or mitigate unmanned aircraft systems, also known as drones, the department said in a release. Mark James, director of Missouri's Department of Public Safety, said his team is taking every possible threat to the Kansas City region seriously. And this includes being prepared for potential threats from hostile actors who utilize technology, including unmanned aircraft systems. The 2026 World Cup is a global event and will be fully prepared to detect and respond accordingly, James said. Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe extended his thanks to the Trump administration and FEMA for their, quote, long-term investment in the security of the region. Grants were given to 11 states hosting or supporting 2026 World Cup matches.
Coming to us from the Springfield Daily Citizen, improvements are planned for two of NICSA's busiest four-way intersections. A few of NICSA's busiest roads and four-way intersections will receive improvements in 2026 and 2027. Christian County entered an agreement in December 2025 that will facilitate improvements to the intersection of Tracker Road and Nicholas Road. The city of Nixa is also beginning a project to improve the corridor of Main Street between Tracker and Highway CC, while the Missouri Department of Transportation is working concurrently to install a roundabout at Highway CC and Main Street. The two intersections are four-way stops with high volumes of traffic entering and leaving Springfield. Highway Administrator Miranda Beatles described Tracker and Nicholas as possibly our busiest roads and intersection maintained by Christian County. There are a lot of traffic issues, Beatles said at a Christian County Commission meeting on December 19th. There's heavy movement to the north to get to Greene County in the morning and heavy movement to the south in the evening for folks coming back. Traffic can get backed up more than 100 vehicles at a time when it's really busy. In 2021, the Nixa Street Department reported an average daily traffic count of 8,632 vehicles at the intersection of Nicholas Road and Tracker Road. Subheading here says Tracker and Nicholas could get a roundabout. Christian County's agreement with the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission will reimburse the county for the cost of improving the Tracker and Nicholas intersection at 80% of the project rate, not to exceed $944,000. The county will bid for engineering services in April 2026, according to the project schedule. After the county receives a study and recommendations on the most efficient way to improve the intersection, construction may begin in late 2027. Beatles said that a roundabout is one possible solution. It's not a location where a traffic signal could be involved since it's not two state routes, she said. Roundabout still planned for CC and Main as Nixa collaborates with MoDOT. The four-way intersection at Main Street and Highway CC carries about 8,300 vehicles daily, a comparable volume of that to Tracker and Nicholas, according to MoDOT. Highway CC connects Nixa to Ozarks and to Springfield by U.S. Highway 160 and Highway 65. MoDOT reported that it began removing trees at Cedar Street to facilitate the construction of a roundabout in November 2025. The entire project is estimated to cost $5.75 million. At the same time, Nixa budgeted $3.6 million in its 2026 to 2030 capital improvement plan to expand Main Street from Tracker Road to Highway CC in 2026. The Nixa Streets Department reported an average annual daily traffic count of 14,432 at the intersection of Main Street and Tracker Road, a signalized intersection. The city received federal funds through a reimbursement grant from the Ozarks Transportation Organization for the project, Nixa Streets Superintendent Jeff Rousel said in an email to the Daily Citizen. Nixa's improvements to the Main Street corridor will include a center turn lane and pedestrian accommodations. While the city began acquiring right-of-way for this project, staff learned about MoDOT's plan for a roundabout. Both entities agreed that this would be a great opportunity to combine the two projects so state and local governments could work together for the common good, Rousel stated. KCI Construction will work with the city to complete the Main Street improvements. Rousel added that utility relocations are underway and construction may begin in March 2026.
With only incumbents filing, no April election is needed for the Springfield Public Schools Board of Education. The filing period closes on for the April 7th election. Judy Bruner said the lack of candidates doesn't mean, though, the board can slow its work. And what follows is a picture of Judy Bruner and Sharita Thomas Tate being sworn into office as members of the school board April of 2023. Over the past few years, elections for the Springfield Board of Education have been getting expensive for candidates. This year, not a dime will need to be spent, and residents won't see candidates' mailers, yard signs, or TV advertisements. Board members Sharita Thomas Tate and Judy Bruner were the only two candidates to file for their seats, which will open up in April. If signatures on petitions they filed are validated in January by the Greene County Clerk, then the two will be virtually assured of re-election, and voters will not see their names on the April 7th ballot. Bruner said that she met the news gratefully because a period of campaign fundraising is not necessary. She said she does not view a lack of candidates, however, as permission to not work as hard as a board member. Quote, an uncontested election does not lessen the responsibility in front of all of us. She continues, our community expects and quite frankly deserves excellence from SPS, and we must continue to support student learning at every level. We cannot become complacent. The stakes are too high. Thomas Tate agreed and is grateful to continue working on the board. Quote, we're making good progress in Springfield Public Schools, she says. We're seeing a lot of positive things happening right now, and I think we're on a good trajectory, and I'd like to be a part of continuing to make that work. If as many candidates as open seats file, then an election will not be held, according to board policy. The deadline for candidates to file was Tuesday, December 30th. Each candidate must submit an application that includes a petition with signatures of at least 500 registered voters who also live in the district. The Greene County Clerk's office will review and certify those petitions from Bruner and Thomas Tate in late January. Those packets are available for pickup in November. Unlike previous years, no other interested candidates picked up a packet, according to a district spokesperson. And the next banner reads, change in tone for election season. It marks a significant change from recent history. The past 4 years of elections have been competitive, with political movements getting involved in the nonpartisan race. Nowhere is that tone change more evident than the last time Bruner and Thomas Tate ran for the board. Thomas Tate and Bruner in 2023 defeated Chad Rollins and Landon McCarter in a tight election, where 274 votes were the difference between winning and losing. The election saw an infusion of cash from a conservative statewide political action committee. Thomas Tate and, to a lesser extent, Bruner were targeted in a negative campaign ad fueled by statewide money. In the ad, Thomas Tate's Christian faith was spun as having, quote, a hatred of American values. That 2023 experience almost kept Thomas Tate from running again, she said. Quote, it was such an ugly campaign experience, very hateful, and I didn't want to put myself through that again. She adds, but my heart for schools, kids, and education won out at the end, and I decided to go ahead and run. In 2024, 7 people ran for 3 open seats, with candidates raising a high mark of more than $468,000 on their races. That same year, the Political Action Committee United Springfield formed a nonpartisan group to compete against other more political committees. Board members Susan Provence, Danielle Kincaid, and Mariam Mohammed with that 2024 election. 4 people ran for 2 seats in 2025. Newcomers Gail Smart and Sarah Huff ousted incumbent Kelly Byrne and newcomer David Myers. No reason to fundraise for campaigns is the next banner. Each year it has become increasingly more expensive for board members to run. Bruner said that was definitely her least favorite part of the campaign, and she's grateful not to have to fundraise for this election cycle. It will eliminate the need to go out and raise money, which for me personally was the hardest mountain that I climbed 3 years ago, Bruner says. It was never something I was comfortable with doing, although I found people to be very receptive and generous, and I appreciated that a great deal, but I just had never been in a position where I was asking for something like that. Bruner raised over $87,000 for that 2023 election. Thomas Tate raised over $59,000, according to documents filed with the Missouri Ethics Commission. Board members serve on a volunteer basis and do not receive any salary for performing their duties. Candidates aren't the only ones saving money. The district will not need to pay Greene County for holding an election. Greene County Shane Scholler said that governmental agencies share the cost of an election based on the number of registered voters it represents. With the city of Springfield possibly weighing a ballot issue to again ask for a hotel tax measure, there was a possibility that SPS would have shouldered a bulk of that cost. Scholler reported that SPS paid $170,000 in 2024 and over $154,000 in 2025 for board elections. If SPS were the only entity on the 2026 ballot, Scholler said its estimated cost would have been over $241,000. And about the candidates, Thomas Tate is the longest-serving member of the board, first elected in 2020. She's a professor of communication sciences and disorders in the School of Healthcare Professions at Missouri State University. As part of her job, she researches language and literacy development and disorders in culturally and linguistically diverse students. Her first election in 2020 started out as competitive, with former board presidents Denise Frederick and Tim Rosenberry entering the race for 2 open seats. Rosenberry, however, backed out of the race to accept a job with the city of Springfield, and that left Thomas Tate and Frederick to run unopposed. Bruner, currently the board's president, is a former principal of Wilder Elementary, Reed Middle, and Central and Parkview High Schools. She's also the co-owner of EduSafe, and Instructional Solutions Group, which provide professional development to teachers about bullying, threats of violence, emergency planning, literacy, and academic engagement. She's the author of Safe and Secure Schools, 27 Strategies for Prevention and Intervention, and has served on boards for groups such as Greene County Crime Stoppers, University Child Care Center, and the Springfield Public Schools Foundation.
Coming to us from the Springfield Business Journal, federal government awards Missouri $216 million in health care funding. The state of Missouri is receiving more than $216 million in health care funding from the Trump administration through a federal rural health initiative. The funding is being awarded through the federal government's Rural Health Transformation Program and will be administered by the Missouri Department of Social Services through its MO Health Net division, according to a news release from Governor Mike Kehoe's office. Officials say the funding is intended to shore up healthcare services in rural areas. This historic investment by the Trump administration will strengthen Missouri's rural communities with additional resources for high-quality, accessible health care, Kehoe said in the release. We appreciate the work of our state agencies and healthcare stakeholders in submitting a thorough and competitive plan. Through Missouri's Rural Health Transformation Plan, we are supporting local partners who understand their communities and are positioned to deliver meaningful, lasting impact for future generations of Missourians. The first-year award from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services is intended to support Missouri's transformation of rural community healthcare initiative. According to a CMS summary, the plan includes establishing 7 regional coordinating networks and 30 local community hubs to coordinate care, expand access points, and support health interventions in rural areas. Funding also will be used to develop an alternate payment model tied to reductions in emergency department visits and inpatient admissions, as well as to create a rural health data collective to support electronic health records and data integration. Neither the governor's release nor the CMS summary specified how individual health systems would access the funding or what level of financial impact local providers could expect. Springfield Business Journal is seeking additional comment. The roughly $216 million awarded to Missouri is part of the $50 billion Rural Health Transformation Program, which will distribute $10 billion annually nationwide over 5 years from 2026 through 2030, according to a separate federal release. More than 60 million Americans living in rural areas have the right to equal access to quality care, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said in that release. This historic investment puts local hospitals, clinics, and health workers in control of their community's health care.
And Hyundai has recalled more than 50,000 vehicles for a fire risk. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Commission, Hyundai's recall affects over 51,000 2022 through 2025 Hyundai Tucson models because a defect in the trailer wiring harness could pose a fire risk. The affected vehicles were produced between February 8th of 2021 and August 21st of 2024. The defect affects the optional original equipment manufactured trailer wiring harness accessory. Hyundai said the harness may have been installed in a location where it could be exposed to water, and the trailer wiring harness control module may have had insufficient sealing. The defect could cause trailer lamps or stop lamps to fail. In rare cases, an electrical short may occur, potentially leading to overheating, melting, or fire. Drivers may notice issues with parking lamps, turn signals, and stop lamps. Hyundai asked owners of affected vehicles to park them outside until the defect is fixed. Hyundai said it will be contacting owners directly by mail with more information. And the question, when do you get your Social Security check for January of 2026? Well, before the end of the year. SSI recipients will be getting a second December check, but it is not a bonus. It's actually beneficiaries' check for January. January SSI payments are scheduled to go out. They were scheduled to go out today, according to the Social Security Administration's calendar. SSI payments are typically issued on the first day of the month, but the payments go out early when the first of the month lands on a weekend or a holiday, as it does in January. It's beneficiaries' second check in December because this month's SSI payments went out on the regular schedule on Monday, December 1st. A similar situation will arise again in July of 2026, according to the SSA calendar, when beneficiaries will get checks on July 1st and July 31st, because August 1st is a Saturday. The check scheduled to go out December 31st will be the first to reflect a 2.8% cost of living increase in 2026 Social Security and Supplemental Security income benefits.
All right, coming to us from the Springfield Business Journal, it looks like Tribeca Park envisions a food hall, commercial and residential development on Grant Avenue Parkway. Plans have evolved for a property at the southwest corner of the intersection of Grant Avenue Parkway and Grand Street. In the spot where the Loose Goose Coffee Shop, bar, and recreational venue have been planned, Tribeca Park is in the works. The new development is envisioned with a food hall and bar and other commercial opportunities on the ground floor, as well as multiple apartments. Asked how the project came together, Andrew Doolittle of development company GDL Enterprises, LLC, said that following the August 2022 City Council approval of rezoning for Loose Goose, GDL Enterprises had an opportunity to buy the former site of the Grant Avenue Pet Hospital at 1037 South Grant Avenue, plus 3 lots adjoining it. That doubled the size, so we went back to the drawing board and created something new, he said. Doolittle said Tribeca Park plans maximize the site's potential. A look at the site plan provided to Springfield Business Journal by developers shows 2 buildings, a larger 4-story Building A fronting Grand Street with a smaller 3-story Building B fronting the Parkway. The food hall would be in Building A, with the plans showing an outdoor seating area on the corner, while Building B would be purely residential. Doolittle said Building A is envisioned with the 8-vendor food hall, a separate bar, and about 5,000 square feet of commercial space, perhaps for a standalone restaurant or offices. The building will also serve as the physical location of a coffee shop, Casa Macondo, operated by Kelly Hayes. Hayes is currently selling coffee drinks and beans and traditional Colombian foods at Farmers Market at the Ozarks, according to past SBJ reporting. For the food hall, there will be lots of seating both inside and outside, Doolittle said, including seating that fronts the Parkway. He added that the food hall will be operated by a local restaurateur, yet to be determined. Someone with some experience, he said. Behind the project are 2 development entities, GDL Enterprises, owned by Doolittle, Willie Grega and Cameron LaBar, and Tribeca Park, LLC, owned by Brian Hayes, husband of Kelly, and Tyler Helwig. In the interview this morning, Doolittle said GDL sold the real estate to Tribeca, and the 2 entities entered a partnership for the development. We think it's a great team for the project, Doolittle said. Heading up design work is Archifect Studios, LLC, where Helwig is a principal architect, and Own Inc. is serving as civil engineer. At this early point in development, other members of the professional team, including a general contractor or other engineers, are not yet on board, Doolittle said. The initial plans for the project call for 126 total residential units, a number that is subject to change, with 78 units on floors 2 through 4 of Building A and 48 units in Building B, which is designed to be entirely residential. Doolittle said a stormwater easement running through the property could require some changes to those calculations. Building A apartments will range from studio to 2-bedroom and lofted units, and these are envisioned as somewhat upscale units, he said. Building B would be 1- and 2-bedroom units that are market rate. Asked about apartment amenities, Doolittle said the food hall is to be the primary amenity, with tenants to be offered memberships that most likely provide discounts on food, coffee, and alcohol. We're trying to do a wine club for tenants and also for neighbors surrounding us, he said. Missing from the plan are pickleball courts that generated some public enthusiasm in the Loose Goose plans. We would have loved to have those included on site somehow, but we didn't have enough space, Doolittle said. A rendering is not yet available, Doolittle said, but one is anticipated by the time the project goes before the city's Planning and Zoning Commission with a planned development proposal, probably in February, he said. A neighborhood meeting was held December 16th. Doolittle said feedback from neighbors was generally supportive, with most questions concerning resident parking, an area the team intends to address further in its site plan submission. If all goes well, Doolittle said, construction will begin in late 2026. He added that it is too early to have a cost estimate for the project. Doolittle said both development companies sought to create an activity center for the Grant Avenue Parkway. We want to be the neighborhood hub that everyone wants to see in Springfield, he said, adding that the hub will serve the West Central and Fast Night neighborhoods and the Parkway as a whole. That's really what we set out to do, and we landed on a food hall as being the best case scenario for that purpose.
Kansas City Chiefs coach Andy Reid said on Monday that he does plan to return next season, battling away any thoughts of an impending retirement by making a tongue-in-cheek joke about his status with the franchise he's led to 3 Super Bowl titles. I think I'm coming back, right? Reid told local Kansas City reporters on a Zoom call, "If they'll have me back, I'll come back. You never know in this business. It's a tough one, but I plan on it." The 67-year-old Reid is accustomed to answering questions about his future in February after the Chiefs have played in the Super Bowl, which they've done each of the past 3 seasons, but he is less familiar with facing those questions in the final days of December, when the Chiefs have long since been eliminated from postseason contention. Kansas City is 6-10 as it prepares for its season finale in Las Vegas. Reid, who signed a 5-year, $100 million extension with the Chiefs in April of 2024, spent his first 14 seasons as an NFL head coach in Philadelphia, where he led the Eagles to 130 regular season wins and 10 more in the playoffs. That included 4 seasons that ended in the NFC title game and another that ended with a loss in the Super Bowl. Reid's past 13 years have come in Kansas City, where he's won at an even greater clip. With Alex Smith at quarterback in the first 5 years and Patrick Mahomes under center since, the Chiefs have piled up 149 regular season wins and have gone 18-8 in the playoffs. This season will end streaks of 10 consecutive playoff trips, 9 straight AFC West titles, 7 consecutive AFC title game appearances, and the past 3 years in the Super Bowl. In 5 trips to the big game, Reid and company have brought 3 Lombardi trophies back to Kansas City. Bill Belichick is the only coach with more Super Bowl rings, capturing 6 of them with Tom Brady and the Patriots. Reid has 307 wins overall. He needs 18 to pass George Halas for 3rd on the NFL's career list, behind Belichick and Don Shula.
Coming to us from the Springfield Business Journal, a historic College Street building is under new ownership as a barbershop operator seeks to strengthen his footprint about a year into business. There's a photo of James Pipp Stapp of Pipp's Beardcraft and Barber LLC, who purchased the new building. He's wearing a nice little 3-piece suit here. Pipp's Beardcraft and Barber LLC closed this month on the purchase of the 930 West College Street building that has housed his shop since January 2025, previously under a lease, said West Central Neighborhood Alliance President Dwayne Keys, who spoke on behalf of Pipp's via email. The purchase price was undisclosed. Owner James Pipp Stapp opened Pipp's Beardcraft at the location after working at Road Barber Company, LLC, for about 5 years, Keys said. The approximately 520-square-foot building had previously housed Peggy's Beauty Salon for decades along Route 66, according to a news release. Keys said interior and exterior branding work have been conducted, and renovations are underway this week to bring the space up to 4 barber chairs from 2. Buying this building felt right, Stapp said in the release. Peggy's left a mark on this neighborhood. We're proud to keep the spirit of that place going while adding a new chapter to College Street and Route 66. Pipp's also was recently awarded a Preserve Route 66 Legacy Business Grant from the National Trust for Historic Preservation, according to the release. The amount was $10,000, Keys said. The grant will go toward the design and installation of a Route 66-themed street side sign that would restore the signpost in front of the building. The project supports ongoing efforts to preserve and interpret the stories of this historic but underserved stretch of roadway, officials said in the release. Design and permitting for the new sign will begin after the new year, with fabrication and installation planned ahead of the Route 66 centennial.
And then with the new year and all, you might be looking to grab some last-minute party snacks or even pick up a new pair of shoes to head on out for New Year's. Given that New Year's Day is a federal holiday, non-essential federal offices and most banks will be closed. Just a reminder, there will also be no U.S. mail delivery. In Missouri, it's also a state holiday, so all local governments and state offices will be closed. So you're wondering, well, will be open? Will stores, restaurants be open tomorrow on New Year's Day? Many are expected to be open, though some may have reduced hours. You just want to be sure and check with your local store. For many, Costco or Sam's Club open, they'll be open during their normal business hours on New Year's Eve, but they will be closed on New Year's Day, according to this. Meantime, CVS, Walgreens are expected to be open both today and tomorrow. And as we just mentioned, all post offices will be open and mail will be delivered on New Year's Eve today, according to the U.S. Postal Service's website. The same going for other delivery services such as UPS and FedEx, but store hours may vary. All post offices and delivery service will be closed, and there's no mail delivery on New Year's Day. Bank branches will be open today, but some may have shortened or adjusted hours. And again, banks are closed on New Year's Day following the Federal Reserve's holiday schedule. Both the New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ stock market are closed on New Year's Day. And as far as your trash pickup, there's a good chance it will be available today, but not tomorrow. Trash pickup typically delayed by 1 day if the scheduled pickup falls on a federal holiday. You might want to be sure and check with your local provider. Our libraries and DMV offices open. Holiday hours can vary among Missouri's libraries and DMV offices, so it's just best to check with the ones in your area. Many are open today, New Year's Eve day, but they will be closed once again on January 1st. And in other news, Oregon County Sheriff's Office is investigating a body found in a pond this morning. An Alton resident found the body. Actually, they found it yesterday. Investigations into this say that the body appeared to be that of an elderly woman, and they are attempting to make a preliminary identification. Investigators have said no foul play is suspected, and the incident is remaining under investigation by the Missouri State Highway Patrol and the Oregon County Coroner's Office and the Oregon County Sheriff's Office to determine the circumstances which are surrounding the death.
All right, coming to us from the Springfield Business Journal, Open for Business, Inked Infinity. 2 years after establishing Inked Infinity LLC, owner Marlana Souls relocated the business on July 16th to 1728 South Luster Avenue, Suite 1728. Souls said she previously rented office space from Counter Negative Recovery and Wellness LLC at 3800 South Fremont Avenue. Declining to disclose relocation costs, Souls said she signed a 5-year lease for an undisclosed rate with Telcom Credit Union. The credit union opened its 32,000 square foot operations center in 2024 and houses staff on the second floor with space available for rent on the first floor. In her 545 square foot studio, Souls said she specializes in permanent makeup for eyebrows, eyeliner, and lip blush. Inked Infinity also offers laser services for tattoo and hair removal, skin tightening and contouring, as well as microchanneling for skin to reduce fine lines, wrinkles, and hyperpigmentation, and hair microchanneling to address hair loss. Souls says she offers free consultations for all services. Her phone number is 417-834-0135 and can be reached at marlana.souls, that's SOULES, .glossgenius.com. Accounting firm Whitlock relocated December 1st to a new home on the east side of Springfield at 3810 East Sunshine Street. CEO Josh Beard classified the move as part of a modernization effort that includes new branding that rolled out in October. He said the 40-year-old company is now doing business as Whitlock rather than the Whitlock Company. The firm is leasing roughly 8,500 square feet in an office building developed by Rita Barron's Raga Properties, LLC. Beard said after moving from 3271 East Battlefield Road, Suite 300. He declined to disclose lease terms and moving expenses. Whitlock ranked number 6 on Springfield Business Journal's 2025 list of the area's largest CPA firms. Founded in 1985, the company reported 11 CPAs, 8 partners, and 27 total staff members for the list published September 1st. Beard said Whitlock's Springfield office is now up to 35 employees, and the company additionally has locations in Kansas City and Joplin. Their phone number is 417-881-0145, or you can reach them at whitlockco.com. Gold Mountain Communications, LLC, an inbound-outbound call center and service agency based in Springfield at 1701 West Sunshine Street, Suite K, was recently acquired by an international company. Chicago-based process outsourcing company Hugo Inc. closed December 11th on the purchase, said Ian McGuire, Chief Operating Officer and co-owner of the Springfield business, with founder Hank Sievers. The financial terms of the deal were not disclosed. McGuire, who remains COO and a minority stake owner along with Sievers, said the acquisition came about after Gold Mountain began exploring growth initiatives in 2024. Carol Pestrev, Chief Corporate Development Officer at Hugo, said the intention in the short term is to keep the Gold Mountain Communications name intact as a subsidiary of Hugo. Sievers, who remains involved in Gold Mountain as a strategic advisor, launched the company in 2009. McGuire said the company now employs 375, who all stayed on board, and this year recorded roughly 2.5 million total calls. You can reach them at 417-851-4653 or goldmtn.com.
Well, as the holiday season comes to a close, just a reminder with your Christmas tree that live Christmas trees can be dropped off at the Yard Waste Recycling Center at no charge through January 10th. Just make sure it's free of all ornaments, lights, and decorations. All collected trees are recycled into mulch available for purchase, and artificial trees and decor can often be donated to an area organization if they're in good condition, such as the Habitat for Humanity Restore and Salvation Army, among others. And we would like to thank you so much for listening to the Blind Community Thrift Store radio reading service on this final day of 2025. Tune in every week, Monday through Friday, on the Blind Community Thrift Store's YouTube channel at 10 a.m. for more up-to-date news from the Springfield News-Leader, Springfield Daily Citizen, Springfield Business Journal, and 417 Magazine. And listen after we are live on the Audio Reader Network at www.reader.ku.edu. All broadcasts are played over KSMU subcarrier airwaves at 67 kilohertz on 91.1 from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. Just contact Audio Reader Network for information on receiving a pre-programmed radio. And we hope you'll be sure and visit the Blind Community Thrift Store very soon. Have a great day.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
The time is 12 p.m.
All right.
All right. Finish